So hey guys, this is Darren with Rogue Studios, and today I'm going to be doing a Wednesday Q&A about why are most Airsoft RMR Glock sights say that they are for a Tokyo Marui Glock 18C. And don't worry, this video will be relatively short because the answer to this question is actually quite simple. So first, a Tokyo Marui Glock 17 blowback housing unit, or BBU, they normally use a round nozzle and a round piston. So there's normally not much space for you here to mill out an RMR slot on your slide to accommodate an RMR. Is because if you do, you will literally dig into the blowback housing unit. You will literally dig into the internals of this thing, right? You can sort of tell. That's the reason why people build these slides for a Tokyo Marui Glock 18C. Because their blowback housing unit is significantly different. You will notice that they have a flat area on the top over here. It actually uses a flat nozzle and a special piston cup that's sort of proprietary because you cannot really work on the air seal. And they also have the nozzle spring off to the side, whereas on a Glock 17 blowback housing unit, the nozzle spring is on the top, and everything here is round, right? So there's a lot more space on the Tokyo Marui Glock 18. That's the reason why most RMR Glock slides in the airsoft market, that's why most of them are made for the Tokyo Marui Glock 18, right? So this is very easy for you guys to understand. Now, there are companies trying to think outside of the box so that you can build RMR Glocks on a 17. One of those companies is Guns Modify. Guns Modify, back when RMR Glocks first came out, they manufactured a blowback housing unit that looks exactly the same as a Tokyo Marui Glock 18 blowback housing unit. Glock 18 nozzle, Glock 18 piston, nozzle spring on the side, so on and so forth. But for the bottom of the blowback housing unit, they took the 17 shape, the shape of a 17, and transferred it over here. So effectively, what they did was that they manufactured a special blowback housing unit that looks like a Glock 18, but it can go onto a 17. In other words, they manufactured a RMR Glock 17 blowback housing unit, which looks like this. You can probably tell just by looking at them. So this is a Glock 17 blowback housing unit. Notice how the bottom looks exactly identical. But it's using a Glock 18 nozzle, a Glock 18 piston, and the nozzle spring is off to the side, right? Now, unfortunately, this blowback housing unit you cannot buy. The only way for you to get this blowback housing unit is if you buy a Guns Modify Glock 17 RMR slide kit. Sometimes when you buy slide kits from Guns Modify, depending on which kit you buy, there's like a deluxe version and so on and so forth. They will often come with a blowback housing unit, and basically you can just, you can decide whether or not to use that for another build, or so on and so forth. So I picked up a deluxe kit that came with a Glock 18 and a Glock 17 RMR blowback housing unit. So this normally is on an 18, but I took the blowback housing unit up. And this kit, I basically took the 17 blowback housing unit and have it here, so I can build another RMR Glock. Another way for you to get this blowback housing unit is if you buy the PTS Atom kit, it'll actually give you a blowback housing unit. Guns Modify also made a few updates though, because these things were because you couldn't buy it back then. Oh, by the way, they were trying to monopolize the market back then. That's the reason why they didn't sell it. Because back then what you could do is that you can buy someone else's slide, but you can buy their blowback housing unit, and therefore they won't make as much money. So they try to monopolize the market by basically saying, if you want the 17, if you want to build it on a 17, you buy my slide so that you can get an RMR Glock 17 blowback housing unit, right? So that's the reason why that's like that. Now, but Guns Modify has gotten a little bit better. What they basically did was that after a very long time, they decided to manufacture just a normal Glock 17 blowback housing unit for an RMR Glock. However, they decided to implement this thing. This is their movable cocking point, or their zero blowback housing unit design. Guns Modify is famous for making something called a zero hammer. Instead of having it on the hammer now, they now have it on the blowback housing unit. And how this works is that moves out of the way. So after it cocks the hammer, the cocking point will move out of the way. Effectively, your rotor won't feel this when after you cock the hammer. So when the slide returns, it won't feel it. Movable cocking points are generally not a good idea unless if you're using an external hammer. That is a highly generalized answer. In my experience, I find that to be true. So personally, I don't recommend you to get this. It's because this thing doesn't really work very well in my experience, but some of you may disagree. So that's Guns Modify. And yes, you can buy this. You can buy the zero blowback housing unit, but I don't recommend it. And the other company that tried to come up with their own solution was Ace One Arms. Now, Ace One Arms, they came out with a very special blowback housing unit. It's actually right this one here. This is a Glock 19. They came out with a blowback housing unit that can fit on both a 17 and an 18, which sounds perfect on paper. Sounds too good to be true. So if you have the red parts, it's for an 18. If you have the black parts, it's for a 17. Now, the problem with Ace One Arms is that, in my experience, most of their stuff needs work. You need to tune them, you need to modify them, and sometimes they can be finicky. It is workable. You can build it. You can get them to work. But I don't like building them. And in my most of the people that I've met so far, they don't really like to work on it too much. So with Ace One Arms kits, that's just the way it is. And you can only get these blowback housing units by buying an Ace One Arms slide kit. They do not sell this separately. You have to get a slide kit in order for you to get this. So that's kind of unfortunate. And I don't think they've ever once decided to make it to the sell that solution to the market, so that's that. So basically, if you want to build your Airsoft Glock on a Glock 17, the only choice that you have is Guns Modify, is this Guns Modify one. However, I want to do a bit of a product announcement, something that's very exciting, which is there's another company coming to the game. So that company is Ready Fighter. Ready Fighter, recently they started to make a lot of RMR Glock slides. I actually have them here. So this is their low-key tactical RMR Glock slides. Very cool looking. Notice how the styling is very aggressive. This is their tan one, or their bronze one. I forgot the name of it. Forgive me. It also comes with a very cool cover plate. So if you don't want to use an RMR, you can just use the cover plate. Okay, I'll put it back on later. Anyways, and this is their other slide, which is their Fowler Industries Mark II slide, I believe it's called. Mark I, I think, has no holes. The Mark I, though, only comes in the titanium gray. They actually made a titanium gray color. I prefer the bronze one, so this is the one that I have. So after they decided to make RMR Glock slides, they now make their own blowback housing unit for an RMR Glock 17. So now you can basically just buy their solution and have it on a Glock 17 and build it like a normal Glock 17, which is fantastic news, is because you don't have to rely on weird designs like this anymore. This is literally just a regular 17 blowback housing unit for an RMR, right, with all the regular features that you expect. And they improved upon a few things as well. You will notice that you see an extra screw over there. That screw is what holds the piston base. Unlike the Guns Modify one, the piston base can potentially rotate. For this one, it cannot rotate because it's fixed. They fix it over here instead of fixing it at the rear. So this thing, it won't rotate. It should be very well centered. So that's a quite a big improvement. That's actually quite a smart way to do that. Another thing to let you guys know is that they also sized down and modified the bump on the blowback housing unit. The bump is what cocks the hammer. So because they sized it down, in theory, this should make your Glock a little bit smoother. Because what that basically is that that's basically the IPSC mod. The IPSC mod is a cheap and simple modification that you can do to a Glock 17 blowback housing unit to make it go smoother, to make it go over the rotor smoother. It will also make the cocking of your hammer feel easier. They basically implemented that same idea onto their bump. Okay? So that's onto the bump that cocks the hammer. So basically you have the best of both worlds. You just have a simple 17 design, you have a bump that has been slightly modified, so therefore it's a little bit smoother, so on and so forth. So that's that. Now unfortunately, this is just a prototype that they sent me for testing. So this is not officially out in the market yet, but basically it will be soon. You guys probably will get your hands on it, I don't know, hopefully within the next few months, maybe even next few weeks, I don't know. They haven't told me an ETA, they haven't told me a price or anything like that. But just know that they are working on it, and this is something that you can really look forward to. It just opens up the market a little bit better, instead of leaving everyone stuck with this design, which I honestly don't like. And again, I insist that this is not a good idea. Movable cocking points have never once been a good idea for any gun that doesn't use an external hammer. That's just the way it is. For you Gasselback guys who are very experienced, I'm pretty sure you guys can back me up on that. Or you guys can help explain. If I explained it in this video will go on for too long. So that's it for the video. For now, I'm not going to answer any more questions. It's because for RMR stuff, people normally have 50 jillion questions, and I can't answer all of them. So I'm just going to dedicate this video for, you know, why are most of them made for RMR Glock slides? Why are most of them are made for Tokyo Marine Glock 18s? I already told you the answer. It's because of this. It's because it's flat on the top. And also gave you a few bonus information. But otherwise, that's it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys found it informative. Let me know what you guys think. Please feel free to comment, like, and subscribe. I also have a Facebook page that you can follow me on, in which I'll leave a link in the description box below. If you would like to support the channel, please consider visiting my page at raidtacticalsolutions.com. But otherwise, I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.